Did you notice the mistake in the drawing of Poppy's door? What was this Braun doing worshipping the prototype? And what's the meaning behind the song's lyrics? These are all the things you didn't see in the music video Wrong Side Out. Right when the music video starts, we have a scene where Poppy is running straight to her room across the walkways at the end of chapter 1. What many people wondered here has to do with what seems to be a continuity error. We can see that here the poppy flower, with the warnings and the hanging toys we saw in chapter 1, hadn't been drawn yet. But right at the end of the video, we see that the prototype painted all of these. So, how the hell is it that when the hour of joy happened, this flower was already painted? What, did they just finish off all the factory employees and it magically appeared? If supposedly after the hour of joy, it still took them a while to catch Poppy and put her in her house. So either that VHS had a memory of more than a terabyte, or it was just a mistake they missed. Continuing, we have the scene where the prototype is surrounded by all its followers. But if you didn't notice, the flowers falling on him from above are Poppy's flowers. Which, in case you didn't know, the regenerative gel they use in the experiments contains the compound from the poppy flower. So, here they're not only referencing the plant itself, but also the compound that basically gave life to all the experiments. And a very curious detail is that, apparently at first, the followers of the prototype weren't that afraid of him, as we saw in chapter 5, but here, they see him as someone who protects them and with whom they can feel super safe, to the point that they even climb on him so he can carry them. In chapter 5, we saw that no one has the courage to do this, because possibly if they try to climb on him, they'll get smashed. The part where the prototype peeks into this room, where the children's shadows are, happens in one of the rooms we saw in chapter 5, where the scientists observe the behavior of the experiments. In fact, we can see the same rug, the same glass, and the same piece of furniture where there's a Huggy Wuggy figure. The scene where we see the prototype working at a table, and there are even sparks, was not interpreted correctly by many, since several people think that this is where the prototype is performing surgeries to create new followers, like it did with the Wrong Side Automals. But what they actually meant to show us is that he built several parts of his current body himself. The sparks could represent when he was cutting pieces of metal or welding steel to repair himself or create new parts. And now, a few scenes later, when he's still building his body, we can see that his footsteps are so strong that they even make holes in the ground. Which we even saw in chapter 5. That got me thinking, how much does the prototype actually weigh? An estimate for Huggy Wuggy is that he's about 5.5 meters tall and weighs around 814 kilos. So, for the prototype to be able to lift Huggy Wuggy with one hand and even pick him up like it was nothing, the prototype has to weigh at least 5 to 10 times what Huggy Wuggy does. But as we could see, the prototype is much taller than Huggy Wuggy. And of course, its body is mostly made of metal, industrial parts, and pieces from other experiments. So, an estimate based on everything we saw in the game and this music video is that the prototype weighs around 10,000 kilos or 10 tons. That's why, in chapter 5, when we were about to face it, we could hear the ground vibrating and its heavy footsteps. Also, in this same scene, a really interesting detail we noticed is the ribs on its body. Many people thought these ribs belonged to Catnap, but we were wrong. Since here he still doesn't have the hands of Huggy Wuggy, Kissy Missy, or Mommy Long Legs, nor does he have the catnap fur he used as a coat, so these ribs were already part of him. They're not Catnap's ribs. And also, in case you didn't notice, in this same scene we have what seems to be the area where we first found the magnetic hand. I'm not sure if it's where the slides appear showing how the repair gel works with experiment 1006 and 1007, or if it's the gel filtration area. Although I don't remember if that's what it was called, but it was where there were some giant fans and you had to go through them. So, did they actually use the current game map to make this music video? And I'm saying this because on the left side at the top and on the right side, we can see the magnetic panels. And this makes me wonder, could it be? The parts we haven't seen in the game and that appeared in this music video, will those be the parts that will come out in chapter 6? By the way, for 10 tons this wooden floor in Poppy's room is really sturdy, huh? And now the $1,000,000 question. What the heck is this tail that the prototype has? Maybe it's one of its weak points because it even looks like it has some kind of lever. But actually, it really reminds me of an industrial motor with a gearbox. If the prototype is going to move its 10,000 kilos, of course it's going to need something big and powerful to move it, and what better than an industrial motor? Also, we can see that its legs are connected to several cables that go to the center of this structure. What do you think this funny-looking tail can do? Now, in the scene where everyone sits before the prototype, we can see several followers' silhouettes. Right at the front, of course, is its biggest follower, Catnap. Behind him, we have Mommy Longlegs, Boxy Boo, what appears to be Crafty Corn, two Cat Bees, Bobby Bear Hug, several Wuggies, a Brawn, Boogie Bot, Dog Day, Yarnaby, and surprisingly, Huggy Wuggy, Kissy Missy, among others, who are hard to distinguish. Let's go back to Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy, who revealed to us that at some point the two were very good friends and possibly true followers of the prototype. So at what point did Kissy Missy become his enemy? Well, friends, most likely Poppy was gradually influencing several experiments. Some listened to her and others didn't. That's why the prototype decided to lock her up and put her to sleep with the red gas. From that point on, Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy were separated and only reunited for 5 seconds at the end of chapter 5. In this same scene, there's a detail that very few people noticed. The prototype in the background has angel wings painted on it. And this isn't just decoration, it's how the experiment saw the prototype. In fact, that's why Catnap called him the Angel of Salvation, while his counterpart, Dog Day, called Player the Angel of Poppy. And then there's the phrase, "A child's what they made you." This is exactly what the prototype says to Poppy. In Lily Lovebread's house, the line, "Thank me dear for paradise," is a phrase that had already appeared in the old Discord biography called Sing Reason. So, the concept for chapter 5 had already been planned many years ago, along with the line, "Maybe now you'll see reason." It explains to us how the prototype doesn't think he's wrong. He believes that others don't understand him. He thinks that you're simply not seeing the right reason, which is his reason. But it could also be a connection with the Sing Reason account. And if you want to understand this part more, there's a video where we explain the true identity behind the Sing Reason account. The line, "Tell me who I am, don't put me in the box, I'll be good, I'll be good." That phrase is what the smiling critter shouts at Huggy Wuggy when he picks him up to put him in the bad toys box. That means the song isn't just talking about the prototype putting Poppy in her box, but also about the toy crusher. Then there's the line, "I made us a home from what was once a prison." It almost sounds like you're safe, doesn't it? But his idea really contradicts itself, because what seems like a home to him is actually a prison where he just wants to be obeyed and never wants anyone to leave. The Catnap plush exploding. It's a direct message, which lets us understand that even the most loyal and faithful follower can be eliminated if they're no longer useful. Catnap wasn't just a follower seeking salvation. He didn't just obey the prototype. He truly believed in him. That's why, within the cult, he's the one at the very front. Besides, the prototype always thought Catnap was the best experiment. Then there's Chomp Chompkins. He's the prototype's personal messenger, which means the prototype doesn't always get his hands dirty, and he has a kind of power hierarchy. And not only do the normal smiling critters appear, but also the nightmare critters. That suggests that the prototype doesn't distinguish between cute form or dark form, and in its cult, it accepts anyone who wants perfection. The prototype talks about a paradise, while all we see are ruins and destruction. What perfection means to him doesn't always have to look or feel nice. This would give more meaning to the concept of wrong side out. So in conclusion, wrong side out means that everything is reversed for the prototype. Hurting is helping, controlling is caring. He thinks he's the good guy, but his world works in reverse. Anyway, friends, this is all the interesting stuff we found in this Poppy Playtime music video. Did you find anything else? We'll be reading your comments.